Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and today's car is the Toyota GR Yaris, a car that we know very well because we've owned that one over there since March 21. So yeah, 4 years, and we've done about 24,000 miles on it. So I was very keen on getting the Gen 2 one in. Now, my son Charlie went out to the launch and did a very good review on it and compared it about a year ago now, but this is the first time we've driven one in the UK, and I asked for the auto version, the paddle shift version, because I just want to see the real difference with it. So what we're going to do, quick look round it now, and then we'll take it out on the road. Now, before we start, one big change since we bought that one in 21 has been the price of it. It was an absolute bargain back in the day. There was about 32,000, but if you went for a circuit pack like this one, it was about 34,000. And this paint finish, Scarlet Flare, was an extra as well. On this model, it's £920. And the price has rocketed. List £45,750, £920 for paint, and then there's additional road tax to pay if you register this car after the 1st of April. Add it all up, £48,320, roughly £14,000 more than that one. Oh, so what do you get for your money? Well, you get 19 more horsepower and you get about 30 Newton meters of torque. But they've done a thorough sort of look at what the issues were with the car. There weren't that many from our experience, but this car was sort of competition bred, and there's a number of changes they've made, including this front, which they say is now 3-part. And I think it's the biggest visual change is how the treatment of this, and that's why I've put that car there so we can sort of compare it. The red part is different. We'll just notice this is sort of fatter here. The vents are slightly different here as well, but it's the black part that has changed, and it's a 3-part now instead of a single part. So I can see a join here, and they're very proud that this is metal. Well, it doesn't feel very substantial to me, the grille covering the intercooler there. The intercooler is bigger. You've got the vents for the brakes there, but you've got 2 additional coolers that have appeared on the outside of either side. And then you look at this one, and they have these spotlights, and these are covered. So quite a difference there. We've got that scoop there. This is plastic. It does feel reasonably substantial, so I'm surprised they've changed that. You can see the 2 vents there. And also, when you look from the side, you see much more colour, because this is all colour here, while if you go over to the new one, it's black, all this area here. So side on, it's quite a difference. But my favourite thing on it, the GR4 written on the intercooler. I wish that one had that as well. Headlights identical, and I love how they integrate all the ADAS, all the radar within the Toyota badge there. So clever. I wish other manufacturers could do that. And you get your GR badge on the front. Come around the side, and basically they've done away with whether you have a standard GR Yaris or a circuit pack one. There's just the one available in the UK. So you get the lightweight BBS wheels, same as we've got on that one. And the brakes are the same as we got on circuit pack. So brakes have always been terrific on the GR Yaris, but they now come standard with these bigger set. Now, this is a bit geeky, but you're into GR Yaris, you'll probably like this, but there is no Toyota badge in the middle anymore. Bit odd, but they've dropped it completely, and GR Yaris has moved from there to that part of the boot lid, GR4, and you'll see reversing lights up there. They used to sit here, and apparently they melted if you're really driving it hard in hot climates. We never had that. This feels slightly more substantial, because the other one is super flexible in that area, but it's all part of the lightweightness of this car. And this rear spoiler has changed, because there used to be a high-level brake light in there. Well, that's in here now, and that means the tuners can fit great big rear spoilers. And also on the special editions, they have this big carbon loop here as well. Other things, obviously it's still aluminium build, all the body panels on here, and it's all about lightweight with this car. And I love how they've said increase body rigidity, and by adding 13% more spot welds and 24% more structural adhesive. They don't say actually how much that improves it, but yeah, it was never an issue as far as I could see, but I suppose in full competition mode, well, maybe it is. Right, let's have a quick look at the engine, because there's another change there. Aluminium bonnet, as you notice as soon as you pick it up, put that in there. almost looks identical. We've looked all around most of the engine componentry. There's an alloy pipe down there that I think is a water cooling pipe, but the big difference is a flash of red on the intake here. We can't work out exactly what it's doing. The engine intake is there, goes across this sort of bridge to the air cleaner there, and the other one's got sort of vents in it, but it's not red like this one. I think they've changed the exhaust valves on it, and a few little tweaks, and you also get the intercooler. You can spray water at your intercooler to allow you to use full power for longer if you're on circuit or something like that. But let's take it outside and see if there's any change in the way it drives. Funny, every time I get in the GR Yaris R's as well, it's the lightweight door. You sort of have this feeling of aluminium. It's like when you lift the engine car, oh, that's aluminium. Just that, yeah, that dedication to lightness. Right, here's the big difference when you get in to the Gen2 GR Yaris, the view out. I can see very much the top of the dash as it meets the windscreen, this lower screen, this integrated thing, rather than the standout on its own screen you get in Gen 1. And the mirror is in a normal position in the roof and gives me a view out, and this vastness of space. Yeah, it was one of the, it's funny, isn't it, that it was so odd on Gen 1, but it was easily done. As I say, we did the mirror mount and moved it up a little file. And I'm also met with a blank screen because this doesn't have the dials. And whoa, what a weird thing is this, an automatic gear selector, which very definitely wasn't in Gen 1. Press of the button. A little point, it just frustrates me that Japanese, they do some strange things, and all I can see is a bright red hazard flashing button. I want to see GR start and stop. I want the romance of GR. I bought the GR Yaris, this rally machine. The starter button, and that's it. There's no badge saying World Rally Car. I suppose it isn't now. But I just miss that sort of flair. I've got a GR there, I suppose. When I get in, it's functional, the cabin, but it just lacks that feel of a rally car. It does feel very normal. They've nicked the dash from something else. They would argue back that I've got a better dashboard and I've got more information through the screen rather than having the individual dials. Here also we've got the push track normal gravel, and there's these two selectors, a little rocker switch there, yeah, driver mode, which I can't see from the driver's seat, but that is sort of engine, changes the engine mapping, and while the gravel normal just does diff locks and chassis when both were combined on Gen 1. Now they're separate, those two sort of controls, and I've got cruise control and all sorts of things on the wheel. This side, yeah, other controls for the changing the screen and things. Glove box, a little screen. I sort of missed the thing. I used to put the phone in here. I've got the two cup holders here with a cutout so you can put your phone there should you wish. Little cubby hole there. Isofix in the back, and yeah, one shelf here, but all hard plastic, so slidey around if you put anything there. Lever on the handbrake and things. Yeah, right, same seats as we had before, and out we go in an automatic GR Yaris. What's the world coming to? Yeah, I sense a different sound as well, but we'll get into that when we head out and find some better roads. Before we set off out of here, I ought to just go through some of the functions. It's very easy to turn off the speed warnings, the bongs we now get in all new cars. You do it on the wheel, you press OK, it gives you a menu as soon as you get in, and you cancel that bit of it. And then the lane assist is actually on the wheel like it was on Gen 1, so that's good. And then this new driver mode, normal, and then sport, and sport changes the dash reading here. I get a bar rev counter on the top, and I've even got a custom version, and here I can put powertrain sport, steering sport, air conditioning normal, which suggests that it knocks back the air conditioning in the sport mode, which is very much track orientated. Right, here we go. Yeah, and there we are, 60 miles an hour. Flicks through the gears. It's got 8 speeds to choose from. That's why you've got such a big readout on the dash telling me I'm in 5th, now 6th. because there are a number of gears it's always flicking through. I can touch the paddles and it will instantly go to paddle shift. But yeah, auto is okay, and it does quite a nice little blip in between gears. There is a but with the gears, which I'll come to when we get on the better bit of road. Oh, look, typical GR Yaris weather. It's now started to rain, but it is noisy in here, just like it was in previous version. I measured it at 78 decibels, which is getting on. I don't know, it's a noticeable sound. The positive is there's a much better sound system in this version, this Gen 2, and it's got punchier speakers, and you can break through the sort of road sound that you get. And also, the other thing you notice is just how more responsive this screen is. There's not a huge amount of info on it. You know, if you flick through, there's no readout. If I want the dash readout of what the drivetrain is doing and things, well, I've got that in front of me, but not on this screen. If I go to car, all it really gives me is trip info and not a lot else. I would expect more functionality to come through that. So there is a better visibility out. And the other thing you notice is the seat being that much lower. Weirdly, it feels like a bigger car in here. I never found the previous seat height annoying. It was just something you noticed when you first got in the Yaris, but it wasn't an issue for me. But here, yeah, you're definitely sitting lower. You just feel as though you've shrunk or something. I'm still in the GR Yaris and I've got all this view out. It just feels more grown up. Notice that the passenger seat does not go down. Right, we're going up our squirt and hill, so I'm going to sport mode. Here, I'm still in auto, 29 miles an hour. Here we go. Lots of flashing on the dash. Yeah, with the auto version they say 5.2 to 60. And I suppose a little bit extra horsepower as well helps. And you are fighting additional weight with the auto version. I weighed both cars and it went 1320 on the weighbridge. We put ours on and it only had a quarter of a tank of fuel, but it went 1260 kilos, so 60 kilos lighter, and there's about 40 litres in the fuel tank full, so perhaps 30 more. So yeah, there's about 20-30 kilos difference between the two. Here we are. I'm going to go to track mode, which then varies the sort of torque split, and then I'm just going to move this across, and now I'm in manual version. It's low geared, yeah, I mean it is around there. There we go. Lots of flashing on the dash. Good brakes. Always had good brakes, the GR Yaris, and it's just the same with this version. I use this road because it's bumpy, and this is the bumpy section, and it has smoothed it off. Even though spring rates are apparently higher on this Gen 2, the damping is finessed, and it is a sort of circuit pack as well, but the ride is much better down here than it was with Gen 1, and that's a big improvement. Let's just see if we take hands off the wheel. This reverse camera just here, rock solid. Yeah, absolute rock solid. Yeah, impressive. Yeah, looking at the numbers for Gen 1 Yaris, they have now declared that they made just on 40,000 examples, and out of that 40,000, at least 20,000 came to Europe, and the most popular country for Yaris was the UK. So there are quite a lot of Yarises in the UK. Big change of this model because they're only going to be making a few thousand a year, and we're almost into hundreds that are going to come in. So this is going to be a much rarer model going forward. What I ought to do now is quickly take you back to Gen 1. So by the magic of video, I'm in the Gen 1. How did that happen? Yeah, manual gearbox. Here you see the different display on it, the upright screen here, the analog dials here. Yeah, quite different, but the feel is just the same. But the big difference I found was the sound of this car. If I just accelerate away now, just see if you can pick up the difference. just a more tuneful sound. It might be piped in, I don't know, but it's a good sound, and a 3-cylinder engine just has a sort of warble to it, and it's loud and proud in this one. Okay, I've got the Nitron kit on this one, but the ride, it is slightly harsher than the circuit pack or the Gen 2 one, but it was in original circuit pack form as well, slightly rounded off with this suspension pack, but very, very similar. And then the seats, yes, I am sitting higher, but I didn't find it annoying anyway. It's a B-road crazy hot hatch, this. Quite nice to have that additional visibility. It's something you soon forget about. It's just on the initial, when you get into it, you think, oh, I'm sure I would sit lower than this. Minor point, but that's my view on it. So I don't mind that either. So yeah, the differences aren't so much. And then you've got to remember, this has got the Litchfield power pack on it, 320 horsepower, so there is pretty punchy, and I love the way I can alter it. I've got 3 stages. I go normal, 95 octane, or the full fat 99 octane map, which I'm in now. And it's punchy, and just the manual gearbox gives you that access. I do think the Yaris does suit manual. So there is a quick resume of this car compared to Gen 1 to Gen 2. And you're back. Yeah, did you notice the different sound? It's a bit harsher in this model. It's quite a different sound to the previous version, which I didn't expect at all. I thought it'd be identical, but I suppose those engine mods they've made have done something to the drivetrain. Right, going back into manual, flick through the gears. It's still a quick car, A to B. It loads up there. Good. It's good through there. A well-driven GR Yaris is a thing of magic down these sort of roads. You can pile on the speed, and it doesn't really get out ragged. It doesn't feel ragged. It always feels hard. It'll do everything to get you through the corner. It's mighty impressive. Probably time for the likes and dislikes, to run through some of those. And starting with the dislikes, well, I suppose number one has to be the price. It's disappointing that it's gone up that much. You know, 48,000 for this, about £1,500 extra for the auto version. So manual, 46.5 thereabouts, and I know they're over 50 in the classifieds. Quite a jump from the previous version. Two, yeah, just the ambience in here. I'm just not feeling that increase in price in here. And this is sort of worthy, the layout of things. It's arguably better, but it's just not emotionally better. It's not as exciting. Think what they did with Lancia Integrale, and they went through evolutions of Integrale, and they got better and sexier, and dials and pumped arches. I'm not getting that sense with this GR Yaris. It just feels like an opportunity missed. Three, the weight going up, that's a disappointing. And I'm not sure if the auto, if you're using it on road, is the way to go. It's impressive, it makes it more usable, but it almost robs you of some of the spirit of that original GR Yaris and the manual gearbox, very mechanical gearbox. And another dislike, it does sound a bit gruff. I thought it might be more musical. I mean, the original one made a fantastic noise. This is sort of got a bit of a sore throat and doesn't sound quite as good. Positives, rip-roaring performance. Yeah, it's off, always there, and it's sort of nimble and it's smaller, and you just feel in attack mode. That's what I want from my hot hatch. It's just great that it still has that about it, this naughty car that just people pass by because it's just a little Yaris. No, it flipping isn't. It's a rally weapon made for road driving and can destroy, you know, mighty cars, and I just love everything's in balance. I've got fantastic brakes, I've got fantastic performance, and it just tickles me that it's all done with a 1600cc 3-pot motor. So clever. See, it should be, it's good round there and out of there. Yeah, actually I ought to mention just one disappointment. Sometimes it, like there, it won't grab the next gear down. It's slightly reluctant to change down. And when with a good PDK, if you'd been in a GT3, it always is on the gears, or a Ferrari 296, they're bang bang in the gears. It doesn't quite feel like that in this. It's sometimes saying, no, disallowed. No, it's not worth it, mate. I'll keep you in third when you're meant to be in control of it. I don't particularly like that. Then I also have to mention the ride being that much better. That was a nice surprise to have, and just the fact that it exists. Who would have thought we'd still have a GR Yaris living on in this crazy period when the government and every politician is trying to make you go electric, and here we are with this naughty car from Toyota. So hats off for that. Now, would I buy this car? Well, yes and no. I probably would if I wanted a GR Yaris. The thing is, I've already got a GR Yaris, and I don't want this one any more than I want the previous generation. I find the gains, and there are gains with this version, they're not big enough to persuade me to change. And it's a big jump to change as well. If it was almost the same price, we'd probably have a go at it, but they're unattainable anyway, and if you did want to change, it's going to cost you an awful lot of money. And what am I really gaining by making the change? I've got a slightly better ride, I've got slightly better visibility, but I didn't really find that a nuisance in mine, and that's about it. Quite like the grey. I can't think of any reason to change, and I think that's the trouble. And with the auto gearbox, that isn't persuading me to change. It sort of makes the GR Yaris more usable, I suppose, and it's easier in traffic. I mean, they make great things about it being on track, but I don't think it's a great track car really, because it's not adjustable. However much I play with this diff and balance of drive, I'm not really noticing a huge difference there. So all the advantage to me, as far as I can see, is usability. And if I really wanted that usability, well, I'd save a bit of money and probably buy a Golf R, which is a bit less money and a bit more horsepower and a bit more usable. So yeah, I'm confused by it, and I think we're really lucky in the UK because there is such a choice of Gen1 Yarises available, all waving at you in the classifieds at around £30,000. And the number one thing I would do is not change into this, but just go along to Ian Litchfield, get him to do that engine map for £1,000 and enjoy this extraordinary, wonderful B-road hot hatch craziness that will see off any Integrale and all the hero cars from our past in this package made by Toyota. And I just think that is unbeatable package. That is the GR Yaris I want. Manual gearbox, 320 odd horsepower, naughty, compact, and yeah, that's what I love about GR Yaris. So I admire this one, and it is a really good car, and there are improvements, but it's just not enough to make me change to it from the current version. So I utterly back up my son's Charlie's conclusion when he went out to the launch about just over a year ago. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, well, keep subscribing, keep watching, because there's more videos coming along very soon, probably next Sunday. Thanks for watching.